Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Misfit Toys Comedy Live Stream. Hello, some snaps, jazz hands. Yes, yes, yes. I know I can't hear or feel you in London and Wales and New York and LA, but actually I can. I can feel it. I can feel it. Can you feel it, Janelle? Can you feel it, Raquel?
Completely. Oh, yes. Washing over me.
I love it. I love that your brick background matches our brick background.
I know, except yours is a prettier shade of pink.
Well, we do what we can. We do what we can. So on this Friday's episode, we have a very, very interesting and a very special opportunity to talk about comedy and what is transformative comedy and what is Misfit Toys comedy all about. And especially because we will be joining the APCA conference, which is all about college programming and bringing comedy and empowerment to universities and to students across the country. And a big question came up today was, what is comedy? And we have Raquel here. Please, your last name is Pulis?
It's Pulis.
Pulis. So yeah. Raquel Pulis, thank you.
Not to be confused with Pulis, which is the Filipino word for police. I'm not policing anybody, I promise.
So I heard through the grapevine that you are about to or wanting to embark on a journey of comedy. Is that true?
That is correct, yes.
And I know many people have these ideas of what is comedy. What does it mean? Is it an open mic? Is it a Netflix special? Is it me slipping on a banana? What is this thing called comedy, specifically stand-up comedy? And I want to answer these questions. I've been in the game for over 2 decades, not to date myself. And Janelle Van de Mortel, she has been in the comedy game for a second. And she will, and Janelle, why don't you tell us a little bit about your comedy history and how long you've been in comedy?
I started doing comedy or just looking at the possibility of doing comedy right before the pandemic started. And so I started writing comedy in March and then did my first open mic on September 17th of 2020 and just completely fell in love with writing the comedy. The community is what really surprised me. So yeah, it's been about, I guess you could say technically a year since my comedy journey started.
Okay. So we have someone who's been in comedy for a year and really going at it. Someone who is just now embarking on this joyful journey that is comedy. And I've been in it for a moment and now I coach and produce as well as perform. And so Raquel, what are some of the questions that you had when you're like, what are the questions that you had about comedy? Or is comedy for me? Or what is stand-up? What are some of the things that you were thinking about?
Is comedy for me, first of all. But actually, I think comedy is for everyone. It just depends on where you're at in life and what's going on and who you're with and who you're spending time with and what you think is funny and what's not funny.
So I love that, yes, comedy is for everybody. And it is. Comedy, I see comedy as like a sport, whether it's basketball. Everyone can play basketball. Not everyone, just because you like to play basketball doesn't mean that you have to be Michael Jordan, the, Richard Pryor of basketball, so to speak. Golf is for everybody, not for me. So any sport, any practice, whether it's yoga, meditation, anything that helps you connect, anything that helps you be present, anything that helps you dive deeper into yourself and help you understand yourself is a practice that mimics comedy. But for some reason, people don't see comedy that way. Do you agree, Raquel?
I absolutely agree. We go through a lot of trauma in life, and most people focus on the trauma instead of how can I break through this trauma and what can I do to break through it. And some people find it through comedy, other people find it through binge drinking. I don't know, but we just need to find a way to lighten
the trauma in our lives, I think.
So did you ever think that comedy could be, as I describe it, yoga for the soul?
Oh, absolutely. Because everything takes effort, and effort takes practice, and practice makes people better at what they do.
So when you wanted to do comedy, what were your trepidations? Were you like, I don't know if this is the, like when me in golf, for instance, I was like, that's a lot of equipment that I don't know if I'm ready to be lugging around with. Like, I'm like, this is a very equipment heavy practice. Tennis is like a racket and a ball. Like, I'm more like, I don't know if I need, it was a little overwhelming for me.
So I've always perceived people in comedy as people being natural at it. So when I see people playing sports or engaged in other activities that they're experts in, I realized that they had to work really hard at it. And being friends with Janelle, I see that she's worked really hard at it. So I realized that comedy doesn't always come naturally for people. I know it's not going to be natural for me. But if I put the practice in, if I work at it, if I get the mentors, then it's something that I can actually learn and maybe not be an expert at, but be good at.
So mentor is something I thought was very interesting. Janelle, mentor, what does that mean to you? Break down mentor for us.
For me, that means someone who is doing what I want to do, who has already put the years in and can teach me so that I don't have, who can teach me and is willing to share their sweat equity.
Okay.
So I don't have to go through like 10 years of mistakes of trial and error. My mentor really guides me so that I stay on the right path for my goals. So I'm not veering off left and right. It's a really special relationship.
So I love the fact that, yeah, some people can just pick up certain sports on their own. They have a certain talent for it. Whereas others, they'll hire a coach or someone to just get there faster.
Yes.
You agree with that? Whereas like for me to learn how to play tennis on my own against a wall, I will get there eventually. But by hiring a coach or having a mentor, like you said, will help me get to where I want to be faster.
Yes.
And for some reason, again, in comedy, I find that people take mentors and coaches and they're somehow either looked down upon or it's considered cheating by other comedians that, oh, no, you must do it against a brick wall because if it's not against a brick wall, it's not real comedy. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a fair assumption when people say stuff like that?
Hitting a ball against a wall, you're going to keep doing the same things. And you need to break out of that and find other creative ways to hit the ball.
I love that. I love that. I love that. My favorite moment, breakfast in VITCH. What did you have for breakfast and what's bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, and hard about life at this moment in time? Raquel, Janelle, who wants to start?
What's the first one?
No, it's one or the other. So breakfast, and then it can be, if it's all five, girl, your life is bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, or hard. Not and, or. Because if it's all of the above, we need more than a live stream podcast to work this out.
We may need therapy.
That's where comedy can be.
I know, and she says she's not funny.
She's hilarious. No one says she's not funny. What are we talking about? She's hilarious.
Okay, so what I had for breakfast
yes,
was a very scintillating double espresso with unsweetened creamer. And that was it, unfortunately. What is, let's see, terrifying, hard, ironic. I think it's really ironic that I was talking to you about podcasting. And you guys, completely unrelated, right? I now end up on your podcast with my next door neighbor.
Explain
your friend, I might add, not just neighbors.
Explain the kismet, because for those that are watching, or because we were like, we've been getting ready for the APCA conference, which I'm super excited about, and we were going to take a pause on the podcast and the live stream to really focus on getting all of our artists from Misfit Toys Comedy ready for APCA, making sure that everybody's ready for this huge week of amazing programming, and then through Kismet. So just take us through it, Janelle.
My relationship with Raquel. Okay, so you guys, Raquel's a master baker, amongst a ton of other things.
I wouldn't say master, but thanks for that.
I get texts all the time. Hey, would you like some cheesecake cupcakes? Would you like
brownies,
lemon cookies,
bars.
lemon bars? And we do it. What's so funny is, do you remember the show Tool Time with Tim Allen?
Of course, yeah.
My husband,
The baboon show.
yes. So my husband, remember the neighbor that just you could only see him over the wall?
Mm-hmm.
Raquel's kitchen doors open up, and my husband is on our side of the fence, and she just passes him the goodies. You wonder why I have a weight problem?
That's not a weight problem. That's called health. That's called health.
Bless you. But she's also just been a wonderful, really wonderful, dear friend. And, one of my issues is that I have fibromyalgia. She will come over, bring me stuff. She's also a masseuse. And so she has helped me out just incredibly so really I should introduce her as my very dear friend. And then secondary and I just got lucky enough that she's my next door neighbor.
I love it. Yeah. We were just chatting, Janelle and I was like, oh my gosh, I think this would make an amazing live stream podcast about what are the different steps and journeys in comedy. What is this thing called comedy? Let's define it for the masses, because there's so many people that are like, I want to try it, but I don't want to do an open mic, or I'm scared to be in this situation. But what I really want is just to be funny at my bridal shower, and there's so many different goals, and comedy can serve so many different purposes. So I was like, you know what? Let's do a live stream, share with the world, have people write in, ask questions about comedy, laughter, and what it is. And we have people from Wales, from all over the UK, the US, South Africa, Hong Kong. So if you're out there, write to us in the chat. Any questions you have, where you're from, give us a shout out. We would love to hear from you. Raquel, what do you have to bitch about?
Well, I can do something ironic, because every week I drive to the office, I pick up files, and I bring them back. And what I find ironic is people who are in the fast lane that don't drive very fast. They drive 65 miles when people are really wanting to go 75, and I'm stuck behind them because they think that it's okay to drive slow in the fast lane.
I think speed, like time, is relative.
Perhaps.
I mean, in all honesty,
he's watching you do whatever.
I'm sorry. I'm sitting on a very hard.
I was being fat. Oh no, I'm playing.
Did I just show the backside to the masses? I hope I didn't. That's a really wide angle. No, I'm on a hard stool and I had to.
Oh, I love it. So Janelle, explain to us your comedy journey. So you told us a little about how you got into it. I know you've been working with this amazing comedian named Dat Fan, who's been doing so much for the comedy community online through virtual shows, virtual open mics, and just being this just a rock for so many different comedians across the country. And you have had the luxury of being part of this. And I know you through Dat Fan. What is your role? What do you do? And how did you get there?
Okay, so how I got there. I shared with you that I wrote comedy from March to probably about August, and it was through the Judy Carter.
Wait, time out. Time out. Cassidy needs to know, Raquel, what's in the oven next? I'm sorry, Janelle, but what's in the oven next, Raquel?
Okay, so I just got through making some gluten-free orange creamsicle cupcakes.
Oh, I've had those before. Cassidy, they're awesome. Come on over.
Now back to Dat Fan.
They were delicious, actually. They were really good. I had to give them away, otherwise I would have eaten all 24 of them, and that would not have been good.
So I went on an open mic for the first time and got all psyched, and they didn't call on me. So my girlfriend gave—
What do you mean they didn't call on you?
The host just forgot about me. And so after the show, my friend Janet Stewart was on, and she said, "You got to call Dat Fan." And I remember I said, "He's the last comic standing winner. He's not going to text me back. He doesn't know who I am." And I texted me right back, told him I was new, and was very, very gentle. And all I had to do at my first open mic was say my name.
Just say your name. You just had to say your name.
I just had to say my name, so it was really safe. And then I told my first joke, which was like 30 seconds.
Okay.
And it built from there.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a student of his. He is an incredible teacher, and especially when it comes to performance. And now I host. I'm one of his. He has several hosts, and I have the privilege of being one of the hosts on his show.
So it all started from being ignored.
Yes. Yes. Yin and yang.
And I talk about this in MTC. With every good, there is an equal but opposite bad. So you had this moment where you were ignored.
Yeah, I was
what this, from the outside, dark, we'll say the darker part, being ignored. But actually what came of it, the bright side, was this relationship with Dat Fan. If you had not been ignored, you probably would not have met Dat Fan.
No, I'm sure I wouldn't have.
So, and this is, again, when I say this out loud, I'm probably saying because I need to hear it myself. When those dark moments happen, say thank you, because there is a gift around the corner. And that moment of being ignored gave you the gift of Dat Fan, his tutelage, and the amazing experience to be hosting and performing on the regular during a time when comedy was at a standstill, and you were like a rock star, just up on stage, on screen, night after night after night, with this amazing stamina, this game face that blew my mind, because I never knew that you had fibromyalgia. And that's not, you pushed through the pain with this game face, and I have just so much respect for you. Like, that is not easy, and that shows that you're a professional.
Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much that means. Yeah, I think we have been in a very special time for comedy, and the fact that I was able to do like 9 to 11 shows a week, because he did
9 to 11 shows a week with fibromyalgia, doing comedy for the first time in her life. Yeah. World, let's get some snaps. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you. And totally a privilege, because I got to meet all of these incredible comedians on these shows, like you, Iggy.
So the connection is one main thing. Comedy is connection.
Oh, the community. That's what I think surprised me the most. The community. I have a corporate background, which is corporate sales, which is quite cutthroat. And believe me, I was thinking comedy is going to be the same way. And it's been the exact opposite. I don't know if it's because comedy is difficult and everyone is doing this really difficult thing, and we all support each other and band together. But just, I've made so many friends, and it's been an amazing, amazing walk, amazing journey that I'm so grateful for.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So Raquel, what would you like from comedy? Why? Or are you just being like, wow, look at my neighbor having so much fun. I want some fun too.
So after this, I may never do comedy again in my entire life.
What do you mean after this? What? Oh, is my unicorn offending you?
After this live stream, I may never come back. No, I'm just.
Oh, this isn't comedy. We're just hanging out.
This is in-depth
Hanging out.
So
we are having some parrot. Oh, because I didn't get to talk about my breakfast in BITCH. This is my breakfast: parrot, aloe, pomegranate, and you can see it has little aloe chunks in it. My doctor said I needed some kind of aloe, and the only way that I'm going to do it is if it comes in a pomegranate flavor. It's probably not too much sugar, but that's what I am. Pomegranate aloe this morning.
That sounds very healthy.
Mm.
And what's your BITCH?
He just shared it.
Girl. So it was like the marina. So I'm staying at the marina, and it was like misty and cold and wet. And here I am, and I'm like, I need to like get myself into a state. And when as a professional, as a performer, sometimes you don't feel it. You don't feel it. I didn't feel sometimes to do a show. I don't feel, but people pay good money, and what you feel, you got to figure. All professionals have to train themselves to get into that state. There is a state that you must get yourself into and train yourself to get there. And I woke up this morning and saw the fog and the thing, and I was like, how am I going to do everything that put on my unicorn, went out and I just pranced and galloped, put on my Mary J. Blige, on my little like Spotify. You could not tell me. And I was like, no more problems in my life. I was dancing with the birds of paradise. My key didn't work. I couldn't get into the restaurant. I had to climb the fence. So I'm climbing the fence, this wet unicorn, dancing to Mary J. Blige. And then I realized something. Children love unicorns. I am the new creepy white guy in the van with candy. I'm the creepy white guy.
No, never.
No. Because the kids are like, Mommy, I want to go play with the unicorn.
Oh.
And the kids at the pool start coming and running up to me. And the parents, they don't know me. They're like, don't take unicorns or candy from strangers. That is stranger danger. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to amp myself up for my comedy school. And I'm not trying to, I don't even have any candy. All I have is aloe pomegranate juice. And the parents were like rushing and like pulling their children away from me. Like I was some kind of like creeper gonna like steal them. And I'm like, I'm not a kidnapper. I'm just a gay Ukrainian in a unicorn outfit. He's trying to make himself feel better and get himself into an ultimate state. So that was the moment where I was like, I see you kids. And then the parents were like, no, you do not see him. And they were like, they like grabbed them and pulled them away. And the younger ones, you couldn't tell them. They're like, but Mommy, that's a real unicorn. No. Oh, no. He's disguised as a unicorn because I'm in my camo outfit, right? He's like, no, that's a military unicorn. That's not the same. Military unicorn is not the same as a Narnia unicorn. Not the same. So that was my BITCH moment, is trying to, where I call it congruency. Congruency. Where I see myself one way, the world sees me a different way. Mm-hmm. And as a performer, it is important, as an artist, is it important that the art that I produce, that I am putting out into the world, which is, as a comedian, my words, my performance, is it being seen? Is it resonating the way that I am envisioning it.
Mm.
And sometimes it's not. And there's a disconnect. And what it reminded me, like this morning, was who I am and how I see myself and what my intentions are and my why, my beliefs were completely incongruent with how the parents were seeing me.
Mm. Yeah.
I mean, like they were like 9-1 waiting. Like it was a situation, and like I'm like, no, I'm a norm. Okay, wait, that's not helping. Oh my gosh, like, that's not helping. But congruency is something that we as artists need to address and make sure that our art resonates and speaks what to our intentions, because sometimes the universe doesn't see it that way.
So I have a question. Because I think as anyone writing comedy, as anyone new to comedy, new to stand-up, finding your voice is a very difficult thing to do. It doesn't happen right away.
Right.
So as we're starting and exploring that, are there going to naturally be incongruencies, or is there another way to approach it?
So I'm going to close this door because the blue light's coming through and it's mixing. You can't mix the cold and the warm light. It doesn't work for whatever reason. I don't know why. So now we're matching up. So yes. Okay. This is the question that we all have. Like, am I my authentic self?
Yes.
Am I putting on a mask for the world that doesn't match who I am inside? And that is a struggle that we all deal with, artists and non-artistic people, just regular people have the mask that I put out versus who I am, and that duality. And I find the magic of life is when they match and they sync, and they talk about having an authentic life is when the mask that is inside is the same mask that I show outside. And so finding that as an artist is a process, but it's a process for all of us. But how do you start with that? How do you start with that? And in comedy, I think my mistake was starting with the funny. There is, when you think about the wheel of why, how, and what. And most people start with the what, which is the laughter and the funny. Then there's the how, which is how you do it. And then why. Most people start from the outside in. That's how I started. What is it? What are they going to think that's funny?
Yeah.
Now, 20 years later, I think about, why am I doing this? What is it about myself? Why? And the why goes out. But if I start with the why and go out, then it's sustainable. It feeds my soul. It has congruency. Because if I start from the outside going in, it always, unless you're really lucky, there's a.
Yeah, I think, and what's so funny about that is it's so kind of counterintuitive, because you're in comedy because you want to write funny stuff. So you're like, I'm going to write punchlines. But that doesn't work. And I know, because I've done that, and everyone says, don't start with funny. You start with your truth.
Yeah, and that took me a long time to figure out that comedy is not about funny. They say that comedy is pain plus time. Everybody says it all the time. Comedy is pain plus time. So what is pain? I define pain as a bitch. It is something that's bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, and hard. That's my formula. Comedy is talking about that truthful moment that's bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, and hard with a precise, observant, specific eye. That specificity, that detail, That alone is comedy. The courage to look at something that specifically and to be able to articulate it with the appropriate emotion and words and give it the full color, not some broad stroke of generality, but a very precise, prismatic moment in time that is embedded in your truth. That alone, and having the courage to share that, will surprise an audience and make us laugh hysterically. So not writing from the laughter, which is what you want, the what, but writing from that prismatic, observational, truthful moment and trusting in that, it will echo out and the laughter will come. And you will feel so different on stage, so different, you're not even on stage, but in a group of friends when it comes from that point.
You know, and that's one, to go back to what we were talking about earlier, that's why a mentor is so important. Because if I didn't have Dad, if I didn't have Iggy, I would still be writing punchlines more than likely, and then being frustrated when I would perform and it wouldn't be funny, you know. And the other thing that I love, just very quickly, is that
we're not in a rush.
When you start with your truth, I feel like your truth more than likely is going to ring true. Maybe not for everybody, but for other people.
Ooh, that's time on that one. Raquel, can you answer that really quickly?
Repeat the
Will
question.
your truth not resonate with everyone?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Do you agree that truth will not resonate with everyone?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't agree at all.
Okay, so
because truth is relative. My truth may
Are
not
we all human?
Right. So the truth as far as the human experience is what you're referring to.
If you drill down to the truth, which is the human struggle, what is the true, detailed, observational, microscopic, get down to what is it that the emotion that you are feeling? We all have emotions. If you drill down to the emotion is universal.
Yes.
The
Okay.
emotion is always universal.
Right.
And if you are courageous enough to express that emotion and articulate that emotion, that's universal.
And then it's the specificity in detail that makes it unique to you. Is that correct?
And it also shows that it's not fake. It's not surface. You've taken time, you've observed, and you have given that moment the respect that it deserves. And in all honesty, that specificity is what will make it resonate true to the audience. The generality just is some low-hanging fruit. I don't know. Okay. But we've all experienced shame. We've all experienced not being accepted. We've all experienced wanting something that we feel we deserve but we didn't get. We've all experienced being in the room but somehow didn't really belong here, but I'm here. There's something, Raquel, give us one thing that you've experienced. A struggle, a bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, or hard moment in your past, not just in the present, but in your past.
Okay. My father was an alcoholic.
Now let's take it to the emotion, because not everybody's had an alcoholic parent. So my father was an alcoholic. I'm Ukrainian. We don't call it alcoholism. We call it survival. So how did it make you feel when he was on a bender, or when there was like, what were the emotion? If we drill down to the emotion, what was the emotion that you felt? Was it, I don't know, shame,
humiliation, fear?
So pick one, because that's a lot. Just pick one.
Okay. I would say fear.
Fear. When did you feel the fear?
when he came home drunk because we didn't know what to expect.
So a fear of instability, a fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a universal feeling?
Yes.
So you have now transformed your experience, fear of the unknown. We have all, especially this year, had so much fear in our lives because we didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
So your story resonates on a level that is just eternal.
Universal, yep.
And yes, it's embedded in this moment of alcoholism. But when you actually come down to what it's really about, it's a fear of the unknown. It's especially for a child when they want stability and routine, and so if you are able to communicate with a detailed specificity, now here comes the comedy, right? The fear of the unknown. So if you take a specific moment, because that's what it's really about, it's a specific can't even speak specific.
It's a hard word.
A specific moment. If you want to share it with us, pick a specific moment where you had this fear of the unknown. What was it that you were worried or concerned about that you did not know? But it's got to be a specific moment, not a generality, a specific moment. It's got to be a specific day, a specific moment, a specific time that you were 3 years old or 5 years old. It was after school. It was the night. It's got to be a specific moment in time.
So something's coming to mind, but I'm not sure I'm quite understanding what you're asking me. Are you asking me to relate a specific?
When was the time in your life
when I had
your alcoholic father came and you felt fear because you did not know what was going to happen, because you didn't know if it was going to be this or that, and you had fear because you couldn't base, you were concerned because you didn't know, is it going to be this, is it going to be that, I don't know what's going to happen, I don't know.
My dad came home drunk. My mom and dad got into a fight. I started crying. I didn't know what was going to happen next.
Great. So now we're going to add the comedy. Right? And now I'm just going to if we were doing comedy, right? For comedy's sake. My drunken father came home. He was really drunk, and my mother and my father got in a fight. And I was really worried. I didn't know if he was going to break the last dish or if they were going to have really awkward sex and I was going to be forced to watch. That's me not knowing the moment.
Right.
But there's the specificity. I wasn't there in that moment. It's up for you to really look at what was that moment. What were you truly afraid of in that moment? And when you get that specific, we start to laugh because we can see, I got really scared because I didn't know if he was going to make us play Scrabble or Taboo. I hate Taboo. I'm really good at Scrabble, but when he's drunk, he makes us play Taboo. The specificity of the games. The irony of the contrast between the emotional stakes about board games. Now we're applying joke structure. Now we're retelling these moments of pain through joke structure. And that's how transformative comedy works. That's a system that I've been working on for the last 2004, I don't do math so good, but almost 10 years. How do we take these moments and retell them through joke structure? But they have to be specific moments, and they have to be truthful. So if you didn't play Scrabble and Taboo, then that's not going to work for you. I did. I'm really good at Taboo. So taking that beat, and I have all of the students, they keep a BITCH journal, and they write, comedy is pain plus time. put the specificity and the pain here.
Mm.
The time may be 5 minutes, the time may be a day. But then when you come back and you look at it and you're like, how do I want to retell this story? Am I going to use, and then there are basically 5, maybe 6 fundamental core joke structures.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is the best way that organically fits the retelling of this story?
Mm.
And then come punchlines. But the first, biggest, most important laugh is emotional truth. Is just the declaration of this prismatic, specific moment of honesty.
Mm.
And we laugh because we relate. We say, yes, that was me. Yes, that was my neighbor. Oh my God, yes, I remembered when that happened.
Mm.
And then you use the joke structure to get the extra laughs per minute, because working comedians work at 7 laughs per minute standard. So that's the difference between a funny TED Talk and Dave Chappelle. Does that resonate? What do you think about this, Raquel?
7 laughs a minute. Well, for me, not even out of the womb yet, so to speak.
I loved it. I want you to pause right there.
What?
Everything that we unpacked, the thing that you're more concerned about is 7 laughs a minute.
Every
I'm working on aloe right now. my pomegranate aloe is getting stuck in my throat because you're concerned about 7 laughs a minute.
Wait, can you see? Here you go.
Oh, thank you.
I think every new comedian hears that and they're like, what? Are you kidding me? And then I timed Chris Rock and I think it was like 13 laughs a minute.
So I told you, that's the standard. The greats work at 9, 10, 11. If you're not playing at 7, that's okay. You're not an Olympian. You're not Michael Jordan. You're just playing hoops in the yard. That's okay. But don't for a minute think that just because you're playing hoops in the yard and you baller on your block does not make you Michael Jordan. It takes a lot of skill and conditioning to get to that 9, 10, 11, like that. But you can still have fun and play at 4 and 5. But if you want to play on in the pros, it starts at 7. It starts at 7.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think about, Raquel, about the truth and the specific observation? Do you agree, disagree?
I think it makes sense. I think being honest with who you are will resonate better than if you're trying to pretend to be something that you're not.
And who wants to go around their life pretending something that they're not?
Yeah, people do it all the time, right?
Yeah. And they go to bed really happy.
You know, I so appreciate, because I've read tons of comedy books, how to write jokes, yada yada. And what you've given is just a really concise, easy, accessible way to write comedy authentically.
There we go. And not everybody's ready for that. Mm-hmm. And I think that we as a community, we as a society, we've moved to a different level. We appreciate authenticity above everything else. We want to know what's real. We're at a time in our lives and a time in society when everything is so fake. The photoshopped pictures, the news, that we don't know what's real. Mm-hmm. But if you can come at me real, then I really respect that. And now is the time to shine, when you can come from a point of truth and honesty, because our government can't. I don't know which news channel to listen to, wait, you told me no masks, yes masks, mask with a hole, mask without a hole, mask under my nose. Wait, put the mask on where am I supposed to put the mask? How does it work? Like okay, what am I supposed to put in my mouth? No, wait, now I'm supposed to put it where and the who's and the what's it's a, and then this state says one thing and that state says one thing, and then my mom, she lives in New Zealand and New Zealand says that. I'm confused. I just get on a unicorn and drink some aloe pomegranate juice because I don't know what else to do.
Question about the unicorn.
Yes.
Does it have a particular significance for you? Because I've also noticed, and I could be wrong about this, but I think on some of the shows we've been in together, in the background, there's been a unicorn piñata. Yes?
Skittles.
Skittles.
Skittles. Everyone would tell me, you ever get a kid, Raquel, if you were an animal, what animal would you be?
Sheep.
Are you a Jew?
I am not, but you're close.
Huh. I'm not being judgy. I'm just trying to think of all the animals in the world. Why in the world would I want to be a sheep? And I'm trying to process that. So you need to explain to me, why does Raquel want to be a sheep?
Because it is symbolic.
Truth, baby, truth.
I'm a born again Christian, and
I was a born again Christian.
Jesus was the Lamb of God, and sheep are from Psalm 23. It talks about Jesus being our shepherd, and we're all sheep. In Isaiah, it says we're all sheep, and we've been led astray, but He'll bring us back to the right path and the right truth, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So, when you say I want to be a sheep, what you're really saying is, I want to tap into this source. I want to tap into my truth.
Yes.
And I think that's so powerful.
Mm.
Because when I heard sheep, I didn't see mentally, metaphorically, truth. To me, the way that I was raised was a sheep is not someone that, or is not a being that seeks truth. A sheep is just following the other sheep, is a follower, not a seeker of truth. But now that you've redefined sheep for me, I have so much more respect for the fact that you have chosen a sheep. Because in my mind thought of sheep as someone who doesn't have the will, desire, or the capacity to make their own choices.
Mm.
And what you have done is
that's true when sheep follow other sheep. But when they follow the shepherd, then they're following a whole different path.
And I love that you were able to help me understand that, and then we could have this conversation because, and this is when we talk about congruency.
Mm.
When you speak of sheep, you in your mind have a definition of sheep. The rest of the audience has a different definition of sheep. And as an artist, especially in comedy, it is very integral to understand, how do I define sheep? How do you define sheep? Are we not on the same page? Let's make it congruent.
Right.
And I can guarantee when you make it congruent, we will start laughing because laughing means we agree.
Mm.
And that to me was just so powerful because I'm like, oh my gosh, she's seeking truth. I thought she was just lazy. And now we're laughing because we see each other. We see the truth. I'm like, oh, what? Now, and that's how transformative comedy works.
That's
You've
beautiful.
transformed the definition of sheep. You've empowered yourself. You've reprogrammed and rebranded the concept of sheep for those of us that did not see it that way. And you spoke your truth. And we laughed and we learned. And that is transformative comedy. And I think that's amazing. Like, I think that's amazing. What animal would you be, Janelle?
A lion, a cheetah or a lion, I think.
Well, you gotta pick. You can't be both. I mean, you could be
let's go with a cheetah. Let's go with a cheetah.
Cheetah. Why?
One, they're fast.
Okay.
They are fast.
Do you feel slow?
Pardon?
Do you feel slow?
On my fibro days where I have to lay on the couch all day until my body recovers, yes. So on my good days,
But here's the thing, when she's on her couch on a bad day, her mind is still going fast. So technically it still works.
And here we go with congruency. And here we go with the comedy. Why is she laughing? Because she sees the truth of the incongruency of my body and my mind are not always in sync. And you were able to see that. I'm a cheetah inside. And my body sometimes is a cheetah on the outside, but I'm definitely a cheetah on the inside. And that laughter was basically a moment of understanding and truth. And why I want to be a cheetah is because I want my inside to match my outside.
Yes.
And that, in being a cheetah in all respects, on the inside and the outside, represents that, the unification between your inside and your outside. Am I wrong? Am I right? Am I close?
No, you're absolutely right. And so on my good days, I am a cheetah. I get a lot of stuff done. I want to get a lot of stuff done. So yeah, you're spot on with that.
And I love that when you laugh, no, because that means it's true.
What are friends for?
I love it. I always wanted to be a Pegasus unicorn.
Oh, I love Pegasus.
Like, I mean, I'm like 4 years old, and it's just like, everyone's like, what animal do you want to be? And we're like at the zoo. And I'm like, And like, everyone's like, I want to be a walrus. I want to be a thing. I want to. And I'm like, no, I want to be a Pegasus unicorn. I'm like, where's the Narnia Zoo?
So not only the specialness of a unicorn, but one that flies.
Oh, we love you, Cassidy.
We've only been doing, can I just acknowledge her for a second? So Cassidy Staines has only been doing comedy for a very short time as well. And she's killing it. She's absolutely killing it. So I want to shout out to you, Cassidy, because you're setting the bar really high.
What she has been able to do and apply in such a short time blows my mind. I have never seen someone been able to take in so much information and then apply it in such a short amount of time and achieve so much success. And just it leaves me speechless. And you know me, I like to talk, so that's a big thing.
And it shows the rest of us what is actually possible.
No, yes. But yeah, Pegasus unicorn. Like, I want to fly, but I also want the magic part where I can like do, you know, I'm like horny, but like I want to fly, but I'm like magical, but I'm like different and special. You could not. Oh, those My Little Ponies. Woo! Twilight Sparkle, that Pegasus unicorn. And it was weird because like He-Man didn't ride Battle Cat. No, he rode Twilight Sparkle.
Really?
In the bathtub, there was Twilight Sparkle with the Pegasus unicorn, and on it was like big muscly He-Man. And my mom had questions. And then she's like, and I'm like, I think that's pretty much a metaphor for my life. Is just like, where's my He-Man to ride my Pegasus unicorn Twilight Sparkle self? Because that's what's happening right now. And then as I'm jumping over the fence and not sneaking, I actually have a card that says I belong here. And the parents are like, stay away, stay away, stay away. It's just like, I'm like, oh my Lord, oh my Lord, oh my Lord. So looking at comedy as a practice, not as an end point, as a journey, as a practice, as a way to examine our darkest moments of truth, our most vulnerable selves, our Achilles' heels. Achilles, Greek mythology, super crazy warrior. He had this little spot on his heel. That was the only way you could get him.
Yep.
Okay? that one spot that is the most vulnerable, that's the only way. But if you can take that one spot and transform it into your Athenian shield and sword.
I love that term.
Athena, Ares, the female warrior, Wonder Woman, that entire island of women, that was all based on Athena. They just called it Wonder Woman because it sounds sexy. You know, Athena woman, not so sexy. Wonder Woman, that's a little bit more sexy. And to be able to take something that is your most vulnerable, that hurts you the most, and then flip the script and turn it into the thing that is your most powerful weapon and your most powerful protection. Now that's magic. That's comedy. That's power. And when you approach comedy as a practice of transformation, of taking something that hurts you, wounds you, and makes you vulnerable, and then transform it into the thing that is your most powerful and the thing that protects you the most, that pretty much makes you unstoppable. That is becoming a superhero. What do you think, Raquel?
That sounds like a tall order.
It is. And that's why not many people get into comedy, because it is a tall order. It takes a lot. You look at one of my favorites, African-American comedian. She ready. Hey. Who am I talking about?
Tiffany Haddish.
Tiffany Haddish. What did she do? What did she do? Let's break down Tiffany Haddish real quick before we go. Tiffany Haddish. What was her Achilles heel?
Was it the dress, or that she's from the hood, right?
So Tiffany Haddish grew up in the streets, right? She was a foster kid, she said, right?
Yeah.
She grew up in the hood, in the streets. She couldn't read very well.
Wow.
She talks about it. She couldn't really read and write until she was about 16. She didn't have the vocabulary to articulate what she was feeling. That's the whole reason why babies cry so much. It's because they want to express themselves, but they do not know how. That is the reason why we cry, because our emotions are so complicated that our words fail us. Imagine being 16 years trapped in a body that cannot articulate the complexity that is the human struggle that you're going through. She took that and turned it into her superpower. She put that at the forefront, saying, yeah, no, I don't speak like all y'all. I don't got money like all y'all. I don't do it like all y'all. And I'm bastardizing it, but that's what she says in her comedy. In her first special, it's from the hood to Hollywood. And when you start out in Hollywood, there's a lot of people who like fake it until you make it, right? You've heard that term before.
Yeah.
Did she fake it? No, it's like, bro, I'm broke. I ain't gotten all this money for this Jean-Paul Gaultier dress. I think it was like $10,000, $15,000. It was thousands of dollars, that white Jean-Paul Gaultier dress. And she wasn't famous enough that it was gifted to her. It was back in the day when she was just Tiffany. We don't Haddish, Radish. What's the? No, you gotta pay for this. And she paid for that Jean-Paul Gaultier dress, that JPG white dress with that diamond collar. And what did she do?
She wore it on every red carpet she was on. She wore it all over.
Raquel, is that something that A-list Hollywood starlet would do?
I'm gonna
show
go
to the world that they can't afford a new dress?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no.
She took her most vulnerable Achilles heel. I'm from the hood. I didn't have the education. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. But did she pretend to be something she's not?
Mm-mm.
No, she leaned in to what society thinks is quote unquote bad or quote unquote not it's definitely not something that we put up on a pedestal. She leaned into her vulnerability, flipped the script. She took her Achilles heel of growing up hood, not knowing English as well as she could have or some others had. She took the fact that she didn't have the money to wear a new dress to every red carpet, and she owned it. And she wore that dress 20 sometimes. Saturday Night Live, red carpet thing. She's like, I don't know how I'm going to get these stains out this dress, but they going to get out of this dress. The thing, you're going to Photoshop it out. It's going to be fine. And she was the first one to ever do that.
Yeah.
So there you go. Secret sauce. Secret sauce. Own your Achilles heel. Flip that script. Own it. Don't shy away. Yeah, this is who I am. Yeah, this isn't exactly what's acceptable to society. Yeah, this might not be cool. And you know what? It's cool for me, and I'm proud, and I'm going to do it the way that I want to do it, in a way that no one else in the world has ever seen before. And I'm going to have the guts to be the first. And if you do have the guts to be the first, then you will become a star because you deserve it, because that takes a lot of courage and strength to do that. And that's what transformative comedy is all about, is taking that thing that hurts you the most, that embarrasses you the most, that gives you the most shame and pain, owning it, flipping the script, and making it your shield and your superpower. But the trick is, if you can do it in a way that we've never seen before, now you're a star. Now you're a star. And that's what we teach at MTC. That's what Mr. Toys Comedy is all about, is giving a platform to all of the different voices in the world who have had a struggle that hasn't been told, and showing them how to tell it in a unique way with confidence and with a system that works, that's built in a fundamental truth. And no one can take that truth from you. And that's what we do. We make stars that are built on authenticity and truth. And that's not easy. It takes a lot of ovaries. A lot of ovaries to get there. I don't know if I've got, it takes a lot. It takes a lot. Raquel, give it back to us. We've had this little hour of, why did I say even little? That's not true. We had this magnificent hour of power.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear from you, Raquel. What are your thoughts? What are your aha moments? What did you love? What made you feel like, I don't know about that one? Just give it back to us. What did you think? What did you feel?
I don't know about those 7 laughs a minute.
Well, that will come. But it's gotta start in truth.
I love the transformative aspect that you're discussing, and I love the authenticity aspect that we're talking about. So those are my 2 takeaways.
So do you agree? Authenticity and truth, yes.
Yes.
I can't teach you authenticity and truth. That has to come from you.
Right.
7 laughs a minute, that's technique.
Right.
That I can teach. That we can teach. That's easy. The thing that you're worried about the most is the thing that's the easiest to achieve. And that to me is awesome, because I'm like, oh, Lord, There's nothing worse than someone who's being like, I don't know who I am. And I don't know what is true and what is not. And I don't know what the thing. I'm like, oh, Lord. I can give you 7 laughs a minute, but helping you find your authentic self, now that's a tall order. So the fact that you are a sheep who has found her truth and is now just looking for 7 laughs a minute, well, whew, that's a piece of cake. That one we can work with. And the laughter shows me that you agree.
I also like the taking the Achilles heel and turning it into your Athenian shield aspect. That's really cool.
I love the fact that you know who both of those characters are, archetypes are. Because sometimes I say that and people look at me and they're like, I'm sorry, I get a little frustrated. And this is just because when I had a question, I had to ride a bicycle to this thing called a library. If I wanted to know who Athena was, I had to ride a bicycle to a library. And I grew up in Colorado. Half the time there was mud or
what a library is. For those of you that don't know what a library is, it's actually a brick and mortar facility where they had books that you could check out or rent or read on the spot.
There you go. It's a brick and mortar facility where they had books that you could check out and read. Is that what you said, Raquel?
Yes.
What it is now is a place for homeless people to get free Wi-Fi. The fact that you're laughing means that you've been to the library recently. And that's another thing. We've reached a point in our society where Wi-Fi is like water. It is essential. Internet is essential to survival in this day and age. It is like water. If we do not have a certain bandwidth, we cannot, it's like air, it's like water. We cannot function in society. Our children cannot learn. Our vets cannot get their benefits.
I can't even get a COVID injection without internet, right?
Let's say that again.
I can't get a COVID injection without the internet.
No, you can't schedule your COVID injection without internet. No, you cannot. You cannot. No, what we need are mobile hotspot offices to go around the city to help people log on to get their benefits because they just can't afford the phone and the hotspot with the thing and then with the password and like I work with a lot of vets and they have PTSD. Do you know how hard it is to get a vet who has been blown up in Afghanistan to remember their password, let alone their email, let alone the things that go along with the things that go along with the thing? It's not easy. It's not easy. And I don't have a solution. I'm just putting this out there to the youngins. We've got these amazing things. This is called a library. It's called a library. You push it, and it tells you whatever you want. My library, when I wanted to go to this thing called, you call it pornography, I think Pornhub, pornography, the sexual content, right? I can just push this thing on this thing, right? I didn't have that. I had this thing called National Geographic. I had National, I didn't know, like, I just thought that all breasts came from Papua New Guinea. I didn't know any different. That's how I grew up. We all hid that one National Geographic. It had like all the little dog ears and the thing hidden in the back behind the knitting section and the Dewey Decimal. It was 300.30. That was like with the knitting and the crochet, and we hid it behind those books because we know that no one was gonna find the Papua New Guinea issue back there. That's how I had to do. And so when kids come at me like, well, I don't know. Library. What language do they speak in France? Español. Español. So Raquel, any questions in regards to your comedy journey, where you want to go in comedy? Like where would you see yourself? Like where would you love to see yourself in comedy? What does comedy mean to you? Like where would you like to be in comedy? How would you like, how do you see comedy in your life?
I just want to stop taking things so seriously, because I tend to take the world on my shoulders and feel the pain. And I just want to, and it's not, and I shouldn't be that way. You know, as a Christian, Christ takes the
Raquel, stop shitting all over yourself. Just stop shitting all over yourself.
I just want to stop taking things so seriously.
So comedy will help. So it's great, because now when horrible things happen to me, I'm like, yay, I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. I was in the hospital and I'm like having kidney stones a couple days ago. I'm in the hospital. I'm like, oh my God. And I thought it was hilarious. I go in, they roll me into my little like section, and they have the boxes with the gloves, and they're different sizes. There's the small, the medium, and the large.
And the extra large.
Right. They didn't have any extra large. There were 2 larges, lots of mediums, lots of smalls. And they call me a size queen. Just little observations. It's not a joke. I just was like, nurse, the ER seems like it's a bigger size queen than me. Why is there no larges? Where did all the extra larges go? I don't understand. No jokes, just specific observations. And in those moments of trauma and difficulty, I've learned and trained myself, pause, say thank you, and observe. And just observe. And just as I observe, and and there was so much comedy and all of these funny, because it's when it's new and fresh, you're not in that automaton mode. You're observant. That's why I love travel, because it wakes you up. You're not in automaton mode. And whenever those moments of strife happen, say thank you. Go, oh, cool. The world's waking me up so that I can pay attention. And when you really pay attention, it's a blessing, because those prismatic little specificities, those are cosmic gold. That's comedy gold. And if you can remember or write them down or sing them down or however, just remembering those shades, the specific, no, that was cerulean. That was not turquoise. No, that was gold. Knowing that specific color is comedy in and of itself. And then the LPMs will come. The LPMs will come. Janelle, wrap this up. Any aha moments that you loved, or things that were like, oh, huh. Or maybe there was something you're like, I do not agree at all.
I just love, I actually love the like quick summation of truthful. Start truthful, authentic. It's kind of like you have that snail in the background. So at the center is the truth.
Oh, the Nautilus, yes.
And authenticity, and as you're going outward, that is where you're getting all the details, all the specificity, and then to the punchline.
Can you say specificity 3 times fast?
Specificity. Woo!
And how does the Nautilus grow? It grows from the inside out. It starts and it gets it doesn't go from the outside in. It starts from the truth, and it builds and it builds and it builds, but it starts from that center of truth. And I love that you saw that. I love that I'm going to look at that totally different. I think that's so amazing. I just want to say thank you to this amazing experience.
Oh my God, thank you.
Iggy, thank you so much. This was incredible, and I could not have had this conversation with you. Do you know what I mean? I think that because of your generosity and your brilliance, this has turned into something completely different.
Right.
And I'm so excited about it.
Yay! I can't wait. I can't wait. And for those of the that you're watching on app,
In 6 months, I may or may not be on board with this. We'll see how it goes.
We will check
whoa,
that.
whoa, 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 whoa! We can't leave on that. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. What did you just say, Raquel?
I said, check back with me in 6 months. See where I'm at with this.
So you want us to check back with you in 6 months and just see where you're at. So we need, and this is a good practice, what are the barometers? What are we checking for, right? So if we're checking in 6 months, what are the things that we're checking for? So like
have I followed up on this? Have I learned anything at all? Have I been practicing?
You got to be more specific. It's about specificity. So in 6 months, we want to know, did you
want me to set
1, 2, or 3?
goals? I am not a goal-oriented person.
It's okay. That's why I'm here. So in 6 months, we're going to check up on you, Raquel, and we're going to see, oh, you made 3 wishes. I remember you made 3 comedy wishes earlier. The first one was, will I be comfortable in groups? Will I be comfortable being funny in groups? That was 1. Okay, so we're going to see if that's true in 6 months.
Okay.
The second, can I channel my charismatic self and get myself into a state even though I'm not feeling it, like I put on my unicorn?
Right.
And then the third one was?
I don't remember. Do you remember what it was?
I thought, I could be wrong, but I thought it was being able to tell jokes, write jokes for family and friends.
No, I remember now. It was, can I use my comedy to uplift and enlighten?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in 6 months, we're going to check back and we're going to see, are you able to handle groups comfortably? Are you able to bring yourself to a state of charisma, even though you may not be at that state originally? And is your message of comedy resonating and uplifting and enlightening? And we'll check back in 6 months and see how it goes.
Okay.
How about that?
Sounds like a plan.
I love it. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Oh my gosh. Thanks.
I love you, Raquel. I love you, Janelle. Stay on the call. Good night, or good night. Good afternoon. This is Iggy Love Sky and Mr. Toys Comedy. Ciao.
Bye.